Gentlemen, let's speak honestly. The world often reduces attraction to surface-level aesthetics, but any man of substance knows that the heart is captivated by something deeper. There is a side of a woman that compels a man to commit, to sacrifice, to build a future, and it is not what most people assume. It is not mere beauty. Beauty catches the eye, but character holds the soul. The kind of woman who leaves a mark on a man's psyche isn't the loudest in the room, nor the most available. She is the most substantial. She operates in dualities. She is both strong and soft, fierce yet kind, independent yet capable of deep connection. A man falls harder for a woman who can handle adversity with grace. Life is suffering, as I've often said, and men are acutely aware of this truth. A woman who collapses at the first sign of hardship, who becomes erratic or emotionally unstable, does not command deep loyalty. But a woman who stands firm, who navigates chaos with intelligence and poise, she is unforgettable. She must be a force of nature, not merely a pleasing presence. A woman who pushes a man towards his potential is far more attractive than one who coddles his weakness. A man will respect and love a woman who respects herself, who has her own ambitions, who understands that a relationship is not about consuming one another, but building something greater than the sum of its parts. Men are not merely drawn to what is obvious, they are drawn to what is unfolding, what is layered, what cannot be fully grasped at first glance. The women who captivate men the most are not those who put everything on display from the start, every thought, every emotion, every opinion, every vulnerability all at once, but those who reveal themselves gradually, allowing a man to discover her over time. This is not about playing games or engaging in manipulation. It is about authentic depth, about being a person whose inner world is rich enough that it cannot be immediately understood. A woman who holds some level of mystery, not out of calculation, but because she truly contains multitudes, naturally commands a man's attention. He is compelled to explore, to learn, to earn a deeper understanding of who she is. Why does this matter? Because men by nature seek meaning, and they do not find meaning in things that are easily acquired or instantly understood. That which is immediately accessible holds little long-term value. If a man can predict every word, every reaction, every belief of a woman from the moment they meet, his mind registers her as static, unchanging, and ultimately alone. A woman's ability to remain composed under pressure is not just an admirable trait, it is a fundamental indicator of her strength and character. Life is unpredictable, filled with moments of hardship, chaos, and uncertainty. Every man, whether he admits it or not, is searching for stability in the storm, and the way a woman responds to adversity shapes the way he perceives her on the deepest level. A woman who can maintain her dignity, her reason, and her self-control in the face of challenge commands respect. She does not crumble under pressure, nor does she allow emotions to dictate her every response. Instead, she understands that strength is not just about force or aggression, but about measured, thoughtful responses to the difficulties life throws her way. Men instinctively respect and admire a woman who can handle herself in difficult situations without losing her sense of self. This does not mean suppressing emotions or pretending that hardships do not affect her. It means developing the ability to navigate them with grace. When a crisis arises, when things do not go according to plan, when the pressures of life become overwhelming, a woman's response speaks volumes about who she truly is. A woman who immediately resorts to blame, hysteria, or destructive behavior may demand attention in the short term, but in the long term she creates instability. A man might tolerate that kind of energy for a while, but he will not trust it. Trust is built on the assurance that when things become difficult, a person will not unravel, lash out, or become a source of chaos themselves. Men are naturally drawn to order, to structure, to something reliable. That does not mean they seek perfection or robotic detachment from emotion. It means that when a man envisions a future with a woman, he subconsciously asks himself whether she will be a source of strength or a source of additional turmoil. Will she be someone who can face difficulties with composure, or will she make every hardship worse? A woman who meets adversity with steady hands, with a clear mind, with the ability to pause, reflect, and respond rather than react, is a woman who commands deep loyalty and admiration. This strength does not mean a woman must always be emotionless or unaffected by pain. Rather, it means she does not allow herself to be ruled by the fleeting intensity of the moment. She understands that emotions are real, but they are not always accurate indicators of reality. She has learned to process them, to sit with them, to express them in ways that do not lead to destruction of herself, of her relationships, of her future. This ability is rare, and anything rare is valuable. There is an undeniable power in a woman who can remain graceful under pressure. She becomes a pillar of reliability, not only to a man, but to everyone around her. People trust her judgment because it is not easily swayed by temporary feelings. She exudes an energy of quiet confidence, a presence that reassures rather than destabilizes. She is not easily offended, nor does she feel the need to prove herself through unnecessary conflict. She knows when to speak and when to remain silent, when to fight and when to let go, when to push forward and when to allow things to unfold. This kind of woman is not controlled by external circumstances. She does not lose herself in petty disputes or become consumed by the need for validation. She understands that true strength is not in dominance, but in restraint. A woman who can walk away from provocation, who can hold her ground without unnecessary aggression, who can handle disappointments with perspective rather than resentment, sets herself apart. She does not let the world dictate her emotional state. Instead, she takes responsibility for her own reactions. When a man observes this quality in a woman, he recognizes something rare and deeply valuable. He understands that she is not just reacting to life, she is shaping it. She is not a passive participant in her own existence, blown around by every gust of emotion or external event. She moves with intention, with thoughtfulness, with a sense of control that is not rigid but adaptive. This adaptability is crucial because life is uncertain, plans fail, people disappoint, challenges arise unexpectedly. A woman who can navigate these realities without succumbing to panic or despair proves that she is someone who can be counted on. Men are drawn to women who radiate this kind of emotional strength because it signals something essential. She will not be a liability in the face of difficulty. She will not crumble when life demands resilience. She will not become destructive when faced with discomfort. Instead, she will meet challenges with clarity, with an ability to assess situations realistically, with a sense of personal responsibility that refuses to place blame where it does not belong. This does not mean she does not need support or that she never struggles. It means she does not let struggle define her. A woman who embodies this kind of grace does not seek control over others, nor does she try to force situations to conform to her expectations. She moves with a quiet assurance that she can handle whatever comes her way. She trusts herself, and because she trusts herself, others naturally trust her in return. This trust is the foundation of deep respect, and respect is the foundation of love that lasts. Men are not drawn to stagnation, they are drawn to challenge. At the core of every man's psyche lies an innate desire to pursue, to overcome, and to improve. A woman who understands this does not merely exist in a man's life. She compels him to be more. She is not a passive observer of his journey, but an active force that elevates him beyond his own limitations. The women who captivate men on the deepest level are not the ones who indulge their weaknesses or tolerate mediocrity. They are the ones who, in subtle yet undeniable ways, call men to higher standards. They do not do this through nagging or demands, but through their very presence, through their expectations, through their ambition, through their unwillingness to settle for anything less than a man who is striving for something greater than himself. Men are wired for struggle, for conquest, not just in the external world, but in the battle against their own inner chaos. A woman who pushes a man forward, who challenges him rather than comforts his complacency, becomes an irreplaceable part of his transformation. She is not content with mere potential. She wants to see it materialized. She does not accept excuses or self-pity, nor does she tolerate a man who remains stagnant when he is capable of more. A man respects a woman who sets a high standard not only for him, but for herself. She is not simply asking him to improve while she remains idle. She is on her own journey of growth and refinement. This inspires him on a primal level because men do not truly fall for women they can dominate or control. They fall for women whose presence challenges them to rise. A woman who is intellectually, emotionally, and even physically engaged in bettering herself becomes someone he does not merely desire, she becomes someone he deeply admires. This does not mean a woman must constantly push a man in ways that feel forceful or overbearing. True influence is never exerted through coercion, but through inspiration. She does not have to tell a man to be stronger, more disciplined, more ambitious. Her own way of being makes it clear that these qualities are required in her presence. She embodies what she values, and in doing so, she creates an environment where anything less than effort and growth feels unnatural. Men instinctively know when they are in the presence of a woman who expects greatness. This expectation does not manifest in ultimatums or rigid demands, but in the quiet, unspoken truth that if he does not step up, he will lose her respect. And a man who loses the respect of a woman he values feels the weight of that loss far more than he would admit. Respect is the foundation upon which attraction is built, and a woman who subtly but persistently calls a man to a higher version of himself is one who will leave an indelible mark on his psyche. Such a woman does not entertain laziness. She does not glorify self-pity. She does not enable excuses or reinforce victimhood. Instead, she sees the potential for greatness in a man and refuses to let it remain dormant. She becomes a mirror, reflecting back to him both his strengths and his shortcomings. Not in a cruel way, but in a way that makes it clear. She sees what he is capable of, and she will not pretend otherwise. A woman like this is rare because it is easier to indulge weakness than to challenge it. Many will choose comfort over confrontation, easy affection over earned admiration. But a man does not bond deeply with what comes too easily. He bonds with what forces him to grow, with what pushes him to prove himself, not just to her, but to himself. She does not allow a man to settle into mediocrity. She does not pretend that his bad habits are harmless. She does not shrink herself to make him feel comfortable in his stagnation. Instead, she maintains her own high standards, and by doing so, she forces him to rise or be left behind. This is not about conflict or unnecessary difficulty. It is about a deep understanding of what makes a man thrive. Men do not long for women who let them decay. They long for women who make them more disciplined, more driven, more alive. They long for women who see their highest potential and refuse to let them remain anything less. A woman who strikes the perfect balance between nurturing and independence possesses a rare and magnetic quality that men find deeply compelling. It is not merely about being caring, nor is it about being entirely self-sufficient. It is about embodying both qualities in a way that creates harmony rather than contradiction. A woman who is too dependent on a man for emotional stability, purpose, or validation eventually becomes a burden rather than a source of inspiration. On the other hand, a woman who is so fiercely independent that she rejects connection, dismisses vulnerability, or makes a man feel unnecessary creates a barrier that prevents deep emotional bonding. The key is the interplay between the two, the ability to be both a source of warmth and care while remaining a self-sustaining force in her own right. Men are drawn to women who can stand on their own, who do not need constant reassurance or validation to feel whole. A woman who has her own ambitions, her own interests, and her own life outside of a relationship exudes an aura of self-respect and confidence. She is not waiting for a man to complete her, nor does she rely on him to give her a sense of purpose. This is attractive because men do not want to be a woman's entire world, they want to be part of her world. When a man sees that a woman has her own sense of direction, her own passions, and a life that is fulfilling regardless of his presence, he respects her more. He does not feel the pressure of having to be her sole source of happiness, which creates a healthier dynamic between them. However, independence alone is not enough. A woman who is so detached that she resists intimacy, who refuses to lean on a man when appropriate, or who treats relationships as optional conveniences rather than meaningful bonds, eventually creates a sense of emotional distance that makes it difficult for a man to invest deeply. While men respect strength, they are not drawn to coldness. They do not fall in love with a woman who acts as if she has no need for them. They fall in love with a woman who makes them feel valued, appreciated, and significant in her life, without making them feel like they are her only source of security or fulfillment. A woman who understands how to nurture a man without becoming dependent on him possesses a power that many overlook. Nurturing does not mean submission, nor does it mean sacrificing oneself for the sake of keeping a man happy. It means having the ability to create an environment of warmth, understanding, and encouragement. It means knowing how to support a man emotionally, how to be a safe place for him, how to uplift him when he is struggling, all while maintaining her own strength. A woman who nurtures effectively does not do so at the cost of her own well-being. She gives, but she does not overextend herself to the point of exhaustion or resentment. She offers care, but she does not enable weakness or accept being taken for granted. Men deeply appreciate a woman who knows how to provide emotional support without sacrificing her own identity. She is able to be present, to listen, to comfort, but she does not lose herself in the process. She does not abandon her dreams, her goals, or her personal growth for the sake of a relationship. She does not shrink herself to accommodate a man's needs, nor does she pour all of her energy into fixing or rescuing him. Instead, she stands beside him as an equal, offering love and support while maintaining her own sense of self. This balance creates an incredibly strong foundation for attraction and long-term commitment. Men respect and admire women who can navigate this dynamic with grace because it signals emotional intelligence, self-respect, and maturity. A woman who can be both independent and nurturing proves that she is capable of handling the complexities of a real relationship. She does not demand that a man carry her emotionally, nor does she push him away with an attitude of complete detachment. Instead, she fosters a relationship where both partners support and challenge each other in meaningful ways. Men are drawn to the kind of woman who is capable of deep connection but not afraid to stand on her own. A woman who knows how to be vulnerable without being overly reliant, who knows how to care without losing herself, who knows how to offer warmth without demanding constant attention, naturally commands respect. She does not beg for love, nor does she fear it. She allows it to unfold in a way that enhances both her life and the life of the man she is with. A man may be momentarily captivated by appearances, by charm, by fleeting excitement, but what holds his heart, what cements his loyalty, is authenticity. In a world saturated with performance, where people craft idealized versions of themselves for social approval, true authenticity stands apart as something rare and deeply attractive. A woman who is unapologetically herself, who does not mold her personality to fit external expectations, who does not manipulate her image for validation, creates an irresistible pull. Authenticity is not about being flawless, it is about being real. It is about owning one's strengths and weaknesses without pretense. A woman who does not feel the need to fabricate a persona or play into societal scripts shows a level of confidence that men cannot ignore. She does not try to be what she thinks a man wants, she simply is. This kind of presence is magnetic because it signals that she is secure within herself, that she does not need to be constantly reassured or approved of to feel worthy. A woman who embodies this kind of authenticity draws men in, not through manipulation, but through the sheer force of being undeniably herself. Men respect and admire women who are consistent in their values, who do not waver in their convictions simply to fit in. A woman who is strong enough to stand by her beliefs, to voice her opinions without aggression or insecurity, commands deep admiration. She does not adjust her personality based on who is watching. She does not shape-shift to please. She is the same person in private as she is in public. And that consistency builds trust. Trust is the bedrock of attraction, and when a man senses that a woman is genuine, when her words and actions align, he feels something that goes beyond mere desire. He feels safe in her presence. He knows that what he sees is what he gets, that there are no hidden motives, no deception, no illusions. There is also an undeniable power in a woman who can embrace her imperfections without shame. A woman who is not constantly seeking to mask her flaws, but instead understands that her vulnerabilities make her human, radiates an effortless confidence. She does not attempt to be perfect because she recognizes that perfection is not what draws people in, It is relatability. It is sincerity. It is the ability to be real without fear of judgment. This makes her approachable, yet deeply compelling. She does not chase approval because she does not need it to validate her worth. Authenticity also extends to emotional expression. A woman who is honest about her emotions, who does not suppress her feelings or resort to calculated behaviors to manipulate a response, earns a level of respect that cannot be manufactured. Men are not drawn to emotional games. They are drawn to clarity. They are drawn to women who can communicate openly, who do not hide behind passive aggression or dramatics, who can express themselves with honesty and vulnerability without being chaotic or overwhelming. This level of emotional transparency fosters connection on a deeper level. It allows a man to trust, to let his guard down, to reciprocate that honesty in a way that builds something truly meaningful. There is a difference between a woman who is performing confidence and a woman who is genuinely secure in who she is. A woman who performs confidence may come across as put together, poised, even powerful, but there is a hollowness beneath the surface. She may say the right things, wear the right expressions, and give the illusion of strength, but a man senses when it is an act, and when he does, his respect begins to wane. On the other hand, a woman who is truly authentic does not need to prove herself through external validation. She does not chase attention, nor does she overcompensate to appear desirable. Her confidence comes from a deep-rooted understanding of her own worth, and that understanding makes her undeniably attractive. A woman who embraces her true self without apology is not only deeply compelling, but also unforgettable. She leaves a lasting impression because she is not a reflection of societal expectations. She is a person with depth, with individuality, with a presence that is uniquely her own. Men do not fall for what is easily replaceable. They fall for what is irreplicable. And nothing is more irreplicable than a woman who refuses to be anything other than who she truly is. A man does not fall hardest for a woman simply because she is beautiful, nor does he fall for her because she is accommodating, agreeable, or endlessly available. He falls for the woman who possesses depth, who carries herself with grace under pressure, who calls him to a higher standard, who is both nurturing and independent, and above all, who is authentic to her core. These qualities are not fleeting, they do not fade with time, nor do they lose their power once the initial excitement of attraction subsides. They are what create long-term devotion, what separate a passing infatuation from a love that withstands life's inevitable challenges. A woman who embodies these traits does not need to seek validation through superficial means. She does not need to perform a role in order to be chosen. Instead, she becomes the kind of woman that a man cannot ignore, not because she demands attention, but because she naturally commands respect, admiration, and an unshakable place in his heart.